well, I can only speak for OSB, but we're interested in the 4 or more mortgaged property, the residential type buy-to-let stock. We're interested in the commercial stock, but it doesn't form the same stress that we need to apply to those assets. So it's good to understand what their wider position is, but it wouldn't form part of the PRA-based stress analytics that we need to provide. We've applied what we believe is a reasonable approach day one to just looking at whether or not that portfolio from a holding costs and an interest rate perspective will stand up to some level of stress. But there are other elements. The thing about the portfolio assessment is the AVM data, the market rent data and the capital value data is well, but it's also about looking at what's the strategy of the borrower. So, for example, if they're raising £1 million now to enhance their buy-to-let portfolio, that's automatically additional yield into the portfolio. So we need to look at it in the context of the whole deal. That's why I've said that 125 at 5 is our sort of guide, but fundamentally we will look at cases outside of that if we can see the overall business plan. And that's where I think the business plan adds real value, and the depth I talked about earlier about give us that clarity as to what your customer is doing will help with the underwrite. So, because we aren't a sausage shop, it's not a sausage machine thing down in Kent. We do actually look at the deals, we give them a good tire kick and we see how can we lend to that individual. So. Yeah, we're doing the portfolio check at FMA, so a full mortgage application submission as opposed to AIP.
Yeah.
Because you can, in the nice possible way, you can kiss a lot of frogs at AIP level. So not all of them turn into princes, so we don't want to necessarily do a load of work at AIP level. We will work to look at the DPR front end to make sure that we don't want dual data capture. So it will be looking at the process to make sure that you put it in one place from portfolio submission perspective, and we try not to capture it elsewhere. But we need to work on, in effect, from a timeline perspective, it's been relatively tight to get from the rules and into the systems that we've got. But this feedback around the avoidance of duplicated work is key, and it is something that from a journey point of view we are working on. Okay. I can't give you a definitive. No. I have the glamour of doing the strategy but not the operational activity, which is great, but we are working on making sure that journey is as straightforward as possible. So, but it's
Thank you.
I mean, at Interbay, we do cross-collateralisation in any case. So you have a bucket of loans, a bucket of properties, and they drop into one overall ICR and one overall sort of piece from a lend perspective. It depends on whether or not the lender is happy to cross-collateralise within the brand, because obviously it may be that it's single property, single asset, it's not cross-collateralised across. But I think there are definite opportunities in the cross-collateralisation part. But there may also be certain loans that, do you know what, if it's a 47% ICR and we may not, and it's a certain type of stock, we may not want that as a lend at all, even if it's comfort in the portfolio. So, but Interbay will do that. We'll do the cross-collateralisation piece today. But I think as borrowers need to look at different ways of securing the finance, there may well be a push towards more cross-collateralisation. I actually think the bigger push will be more towards things like income-backed buy-to-let, where you look at the wider structure of a borrower's wealth position and take a view based upon that, because I think that will reach into, there's lots of great low-yielding stock in central London that, because of the way the market's moved over the last year, struggles now to get any reasonable LTV. If you factor in a wider income stack, then there are things that can be looked at. So I think income-backed, cross-collateralisation are definitely areas. But, I mean, the guys are here from Interbay, so that's one thing that they do at this moment in time.
I think that's one of the exciting things about looking at technology like that, which looks awesome. So that would definitely enable lenders who want to play in that cross-collateralisation zone to, it makes it easier for them. If they've got a portfolio like that all uploaded, and it's a lot easier for them to do that kind of thing. So as technology improves, then I think that will open up more opportunities for that kind of lending.
The assessment of the existing portfolio is the assessment of the existing portfolio. The expat range from a new origination point of view is the new origination. So I don't really see there's no differential change in the lend. The assessment is the same. It's like anything, it's a snapshot in time. So when the portfolio is up, and this is where the business plan and the other information that comes into it is really key. Because what we're looking at is if you're looking to raise an extra £1-2 million worth of cash, and that's going to enhance your portfolio by extra the type of stuff you buy in, that should form part of the assessment that we take. But the data is based on snapshot in time. It will be market rent, cap value, based on the portfolio as it's submitted at that particular point in time to give us a view as to whether or not it passes the stresses. So that's the only way we can do it. We aren't forward. Maybe, I mean, Jim will probably, we may be able to look at what they're acquiring over time and see how that would fit in the context of the mix of the portfolio. But again, I think that's something that we need to look at as an evolution rather than it's not an MVP point to Jim. It may be something that we look at in the evolution, because I think the cash flow and the forward look of what they're doing and the assessment of that through a tool could actually be super helpful to brokers as well. So.